the part that I didn't quite realise going into it was how many hot leads we received. I didn't expect it to be as many as we did, which meant there was a lot of conversations. And so from a hot leads point of view, we received about 30 hot leads, which was terrific. ROI, we're looking at probably a 2 to 3 times increase.
Hi there, thanks for connecting through to the sponsorship team. In this episode of the sponsorship team experience, we talked to David, the sponsorship manager of a small little cricket club called HURSTBRIDGE Cricket Club on the outskirts of Melbourne, about their experience with Whitewall Sport and the sponsorship team as they underwent the sponsorship sprint service. Let's hear from David. Thanks for joining us, mate. It's obviously you've been with us on the sponsorship sales sprint for a good period of time now, and have effectively now finished the process. So really keen to sort of get your thoughts on it so others can learn from it. HURSTBRIDGE Cricket Club playing in the Diamond Valley League and on the outskirts of Melbourne, a fairly unique organisation. It'd be good to hear a little bit more about it, maybe a bit about the history and some of the challenges that you face in a smaller community like yours.
Yeah, HURSTBRIDGE Cricket Club, as you mentioned, we're in the Diamond Valley Cricket Association on the outskirts of Melbourne. We're on the breadths of metro and regional Victoria. We this year celebrate our 125th anniversary, which is really exciting for the club. But being from a small community and what could be seen as a country community, it's really difficult for us to find sponsors. And retaining our current sponsors is something we do year on year, but it's bringing in new people and it's bringing the community together. We see ourselves as a really community-focused club, and how ways that we can support our community and they can support us at times becomes really difficult, being what we see as a little bit of a country town at times. So engaging with Whitewall Sports has been terrific for us, being able to expand our view on sponsorship, how we've approached sponsorship, how we've approached community, and our engagement with the community has been really terrific. And it's a different way of us looking at it. And we're really happy with what's been delivered from Whitewall and the partnership we've built with Whitewall Sports this year in our sponsorship and moving forward.
No, good to hear and appreciate that. And maybe let's talk a little bit more about the actual process that we went through. So obviously, once you engaged us, we sort of opened up the Dropbox link, and you put everything into the Dropbox link so we can sort of prepare for our sponsorship strategy session.
Yep.
Maybe talk a little bit about what we went through in that sponsorship strategy session, just for information for people who may be interested.
Yeah, it was really positive. It was really engaging early conversations that we had with Whitewall Sports and with yourself. So it was a really open, transparent conversation from Whitewall around how we would approach it, our location, our geo-targeting, and it was really clear guidance given to us around what was required from Whitewall Sports. So we were able to go away reasonably quickly using smart effects. We already had some build-in of some documentation and some photography, and be able to provide that through the Dropbox through to the digital team at Whitewall Sports to create our sponsorship packs. And then it was really productive. The conversations were really good around our strategy, how we were going to approach our market and our community, looking at our current exclusive sponsors. We do have some big sponsorship deals at the moment with some exclusive partners that we wanted to not impact. So we was really open the approach with that, and it was really positive. The output of it all from the strategy has been terrific. Our current sponsors haven't been bothered, which has been great. The conversations I've had with those guys have been offline, and then we've reached into markets and categories that we haven't probably hit into in the past. So the strategy session, I believe, really worked well. It provided Whitewall with an understanding of us as a community club, as well as understanding from our point of view around how we would approach the marketing and the communications out.
Yeah, for sure. And let's just talk a little bit about the lead generation side of things as well. And you sort of touched on it earlier, but a big part of the sponsorship sales sprint product is connecting with businesses that you wouldn't ordinarily connect with. Maybe give us a bit of a snapshot, I guess, or an indication of, obviously we send through every week a report on a Friday afternoon. Maybe just give us a bit of an insight into what that looked like and the the number of businesses that we contacted, and maybe even a bit about the geo targeting, given that you are uniquely almost rural in your the nature of the club.
Yeah, yeah, perfect. So from a hot leads point of view, we received about 30 hot leads, which was terrific. We looking at the data that was sent through from Whitewall through Alvin, our sponsorship partner. We reached out to up to 1,000 different organisations, which was terrific. And then we received about 20 hot leads. There were probably a few numbers that missed out of that directly came through us and didn't go through Whitewall, as we had connections with them in the past. So the hot leads number was upwards probably of around 30 or 35 in total, which was terrific. It allowed me to have 35 conversations with different organisations about our sporting club, which I love to do. So it was great. The information coming back from Whitewall was in time, it's detailed, provided me an opportunity to go out and speak to people really quickly, really positively. They had an understanding of what I was going to reach out about as well. The geo-targeting component of it was probably an interesting one. And this was probably something you and I and Whitewall spoke about quite a bit, was how we looked at our nearly rural aspect and how we targeted organisations. We speak to our community quite a bit about our cricket club, but it was trying to reach to organisations that were a little bit out of our geo area, and trying to bring them into the community aspect and try and find benefits for both them as a sponsor and us as a cricket club. So it was terrific.
Good stuff. And mate, you are passionate. There's no question about that. We've seen that through the process. So congratulations on the work you've done in following the leads up as well, because they do come through pretty thick and fast. Just quickly touch on that as well. How did you? Because that's an interesting dynamic for a community sports organisation where we do go to a lot of people and we do target a lot of businesses, and they can come through thick and fast in terms of the hot leads. So how did you manage that dynamic?
Yeah, that was probably the part that I didn't quite realise going into it, was how many hot leads we'd received. I didn't expect it to be as many as we did, which meant there was a lot of conversations, and in some cases, multiple conversations, trying to understand how we supported the potential new sponsor, how they supported us, going back to the committee, having conversations with a range of different members, our senior coaches and other people around how we could potentially use the benefits of some of our potential sponsors. So it did take time. It was an investment that, to be honest, I quite enjoyed. As I said before, I like talking about our club. I like talking about why we're special, why we're unique, why people should support us, and what we can provide them. So there was time investment, and that's something that people need to realise. Sponsorship's not something that necessarily comes over the desk easily. Sometimes there's a bit of time and effort goes into it, but I'm passionate. I love it. Talking about our club is something I like to do, and taking people on the journey of why we are unique, why we are someone to support, and the future of our club is important to them as much as it is important to us.
Great stuff. And there's no doubt from what I've heard as well, you tell the HURSTBRIDGE Cricket Club story really, really well to the community, and engage with them in the right way. So that's fantastic. And maybe let's just close off the conversation, because I do appreciate your time, and I appreciate you obviously choosing Whitewall Sport and our Sportmaker products to get out there and work with you on your sponsorship sales campaign. Maybe just talk about your return on investment. I know you're still working through how everything's going to play out, because there are still live conversations. You relatively recently finished. However, it'd be good to give people an indication of what your expectations are, not just for this year, but obviously how that plays out in the future as well.
Yeah. So to ROI, we're looking at probably a 2 to 3 times increase. The numbers look really positive as we speak today. Just at the end of our sprint, we are above last year's sponsorship intake. There are a number of hot leads that I need to close out. So we are well and truly on track to meet the targets that we'd spoken to Whitewall around. We are interested and heavily engaged in the process, and this is something we want to invest into for the years to come. So I think there's benefits there. But as we look into season 23-24, our ROI is 2 to 3 times above where it was last year, and we are looking for future benefits too. So I think the situation we're in and the engagement we've had with Whitewall has delivered above what we expected. It's terrific.
David, really appreciate your time. As I said, really appreciate the club selecting and choosing us to work with you on the campaign. Hopefully, at some point in the future, we get to work together. But good luck with closing those deals, and maybe at some point in the future, we'll get you back on again.
Perfect. Beautiful. Thank you, Andy.
Thanks, David.